Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello everyone, I Dr. Reshma Savle, working as an assistant professor with Indu Kaka Ipkowala Institute of Management, Charusat University, Changa, welcomes you all on behalf of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University for this session. Today we are going to take a session on human resource planning, which is a course introduced as a part and parcel of postgraduate diploma in human resources. Now let's have a look into what topics we are going to get into. In today's session, we will be understanding about variety of the concepts which will revolve around understanding the concept of human resources, understanding the concept of human resource development, understanding the modern concept of human resources. We'll also have a look at understanding the definition of human resources. We will also see the concept of human resource management and the features of human resource management. So our aim is, by the end of this particular session, we all are in position to understand and explain these concepts in a better manner. So let's begin with the topic. In order to understand human resource management concept, we will first of all understand the basic introduction for these three terminologies. If you talk about an organizational context, human resource management is nothing but the study of activities about the workforce in the organization. Now, in an organization, there are various activities which are carried out on day-to-day basis. And human resource management involves employees in all these activities. So here we are going to study which are the activities that are carried out by employees of the organization. Now, basically, human resource management is an administrative function which is definitely a kind of function that involves a lot of documentation and record keeping. And nowadays in modern era, it tries to balance between the organizational needs and the skills and abilities of employees. So if I talk about human resource management in organizational context, we need to understand that human resource management tries to achieve a balance between what organization wants and the skill set of the existing employees. So there is basically a person job fit that is aimed to be achieved in this particular function. Now there are three terminologies, that is human resource management. If we understand these three words differently, let's see what they mean. Human means Homo sapiens. This is known to all of us because we count humans as social animals. Now, when you say humans are social animals, this word itself indicates that we cannot stay or operate in isolation. For many things, we are dependent on others, and there's a need of socialization, which is a very important need that has to be satisfied for all humans, in short. Then the concept of resource. Now, resources are nothing but our assets. And when we talk about this word asset, we know that assets are certain things that belong to us. We own the assets and we need to take care of our asset. That is very important. So in organizational context, definitely in the modern era, humans are termed as assets. So it means that humans are definitely to be taken care of and they are to be preserved and looked upon. Other examples of assets are the physical assets like land, the infrastructure, the building. Then we also have financial assets in terms of the monetary aspects. At the same time, we are having technical assets and informational assets. So basically, all assets which are belonging to the organization are the resources of the organization. So here we need to understand that these resources, including human resource, should be optimally utilized. We are aiming at optimum utilization of all the resources. Now the third concept is management. Now when I talk about this particular concept, management as we all are always aware, that is the art of getting things done from people. And the word people over here matters a lot, because in almost all functions of management, you're going to have the involvement of people, and we cannot separate people from these functions. Now, if you see the functions of planning, wherein which we plan for the future, we forecast and we plan. Here, the forecasting part, the planning part, the documenting part, the strategic alignment part, everything is done, taken care by the humans, that is, employees of the organization. When we talk about organizing, it's all about identifying the resources that we need in order to achieve our plan. Here also, you need to involve people for various organizing tasks. Then we are having leading. Now, definitely a leader is obviously a human being who is an employee working with the organization. And with the modern era, we expect leaders at all levels of the organization. Gone are the days where we expect leaders to be there at top. And that's why now we need people who are leading the organization in every frontiers. So here we need people, and again controlling. As there are various activities which have been carried out in the organization, every activity has to be monitored, has to be controlled. And again here we need the intervention of people. So these three terminologies helps us to understand that human resource management is a very broad concept, wherein which we are talking about involvement of humans, that is our employees, in almost all aspects of management, wherein which in organizational context we are going to see how people are managed by the owners, by the top management in the organizational setup. And at the same time, we are going to focus on how people perform their work at the workplace, and how the organization help people to their work smoothly, and how the organizational heads help their employees to solve their problems. So basically, the introduction to human resource management, though it is very vast, in short, we need to remember that it's all about employees and the activities in which employees are involved. Here we are going to focus the role of the organizations in helping people to perform their task effectively, and in solving the problems that can arise in performing those tasks. Now, moving further, let's try to understand the concept of human resource development. Now, human resource management again is in line with human resource development. When we are using this word development, we are talking about the progress, we are talking about the growth. So if I want to define this word human resource development, the definition that we can get in most of the books is like this: it is an organized learning activities arranged within an organization in order to improve performance and personal growth for the purpose of improvement in job, improvement of the individual, and improvement of the organization as a whole. Now let's try to understand this definition in detail. Now we can see that the learning word is also used in this definition. Now, when we use this word learning, it's directly related to development. So, in many organizations, you will find the existence of learning and development department, over in which they will try to develop the human resources by providing them the learning opportunities. So, organized learning activities, these three words are very important. Why? Because these learning activities are organized in the organization itself for the employees. The basic purpose for organizing the activities are nothing but improvement, and definitely this improvement is with respect to the job improvement, the individual's own growth and improvement, and obviously when the individuals are improving, obviously the organization at its own is going to get improved. So it's a three-tier process which starts at the very basic level of improvement in the jobs, which are taken care by improvement in the small activities that are related to the job. Now, after this improvement in the job is achieved, obviously the employees will be in better position to perform their jobs, and when they are in better position to perform their jobs, the organization is going to benefit at all. So HRD is again a very important function of the organization. Now, if I talk about the approaches that are adapted by human resource development, there are two basic approaches which are very important to understand when it comes to HRD. Here, the first approach is workforce as assets whose worth is improved by development. Now, here we are talking about workforce. Workforce means our employees. Now, our employees, as we have discussed in the previous slide, are our assets. We need to take care of our assets. Now, not only we are going to take care of assets, we are going to provide learning opportunities to our employees for improvement. And once they take these learning opportunities, once they are involved in those training activities, obviously there is a visible development that will be seen in the coming time. So the first approach of HRD is workforce are nothing but our assets and whose worth is improved by development. So if you want to improve the worth of your human beings, your employees, the only option that organization have is development. Is so obvious. Like when an employee enters an organization, he or she may carry some background information, knowledge, as well as education. But at the entry level, this might be a limited information that the person carries. And as and when the organization moves further in the upcoming years, there is again a need for the organization as well as the employee to develop. And that's why we need to increase the worth of our assets by providing them the developmental opportunities. Now, the second approach of human resource development is develop superior workforce aimed for goal achievement. Now, we all know that almost all organizations are existing in the market with some goal in mind. I don't think that there is any organization which are just existing for the sake of working without any vision or mission. So every organization has its own vision, mission, and established goals. And the aim of the workforce is definitely the goal achievement. Now, in order to smoothen this journey of achievement of the goal, we need to have superior workforce. Now, over here by superior, I mean that these people are learned enough, they are knowledgeable enough, and they are in position to disseminate the knowledge to others. So we need to create the workforce which is superior in terms of knowledge and information, and again which is capable to disseminate this information to the juniors, to the subordinates, so that the goal achievement process is continuously achieved. So basically HRD revolves around these two approaches. Now, if I talk about the activities or the processes that are part and parcel of human resource development, so our human resource development includes employee training at a very large scale. So if you want to develop humans, definitely you are going to provide them learning opportunities through training. Now, we all know that this training can be of different kinds. It can be in-house training, it can be out of the organization training. But then the purpose of training is to identify the needs wherein which employees are not strong and provide sufficient learning opportunities to them to overcome those particular weaker areas. So the first and the broad aspect of HRD is employee training. Now, it's obvious that when we are training the employees, when we are giving them learning opportunities, when they are learning, increasing their skill sets, abilities, and knowledge, obviously it's going to help them in their career development. So they are going to definitely increase their skill sets. The self-esteem need is totally satisfied over here. So we are kind of supporting them in developing in their own career. So that is really very satisfying achievement for the employees. So this is second important activity that is part and parcel of HRD. The third one is performance management and development. Now we can understand the logical linkage. Once you are training your employees, they are expected to exhibit the learning that they have got out of that training in the workplace. Now it is the organization's responsibility to see whether this particular training that they have received is up to the mark or not, or In other words, whether the employees are capable to demonstrate the learning of the training in the workplace or not. So that can be done through performance management. So we are having performance appraisal, established processes, and at the same time, performance management is possible when this set processes are in hand. The third and the most important aspect of performance management is again directly linked with the activity called as coaching and mentoring. So, in an organizational setup, coaching and mentoring was very effective when it comes to the new joinees of the organization. So, when there are young employees entering with a lot of enthusiasm, with all innovative ideas, with full of energy, there's a need to channelize the energy that they have. Now, this channelization part can be taken care by coaching and mentoring. So, there is an established system of coaching in the organizational setup which comes under HRD, where the seniors are coaching the juniors or mentoring the juniors. It's kind of hand holding in the problems that they may face in the organizational setup. So, again, this is a very good activity that is a part and parcel of HRD. Then comes an important part that is called as succession planning. Now, when you talk about identifying a successor, now successors are those people who are ready to take charge of the position. Now, most of the time, succession planning is done for the top management. Now, when it is about top management, if you're aware that there is going to be a vacancy in the top level management, you need to start training your juniors who can occupy that particular position in the coming future. This is also related to identifying the flight risk assessment. What is the flight risk? If there are chances that there is an employee who can leave a very crucial position in the coming future, and if the organization is aware of this, so organization cannot afford to leave that position vacant for some period of time as well. So what organization needs to do? They need to identify the successor. So succession planning is again an important activity of HRD. And through HRD, we are also kind of identifying the potential employees who can help the organization lead in future. That is key employee identification. And by doing all these things, something that we are going to achieve is organizational development. So the ultimate aim of human resource development is organizational development. So this is a very important slide from the perspective of understanding the developmental part of HR. Now let's move further and try to understand the modern concept of human resources. Now when I say modern, I am here kind of disagreeing with the traditional aspects wherein which there are certain things which are not acceptable. So here I am talking about human beings which are considered or recognized as social beings and not commodities or resources. So in the modern HRM concept, humans have been given the recognition for their existence, and this is really appreciative. Why? Because long gone are the days where there were possibilities of considering humans as machines, and they were just looked upon as a person who needs to do the work, but then what humans feel, what are their behavioral aspects, these were never taken into consideration. So in modern human resource management, human beings are accepted as social beings. Now when you are accepting human beings as social beings, that means you are accepting and appreciating their need of socialization. When I'm accepting the need of socialization, it means my employees are definitely going to be together. They are going to work in formal groups, they are going to have informal groups, and they are going to interact with each other. So when they are interacting with each other, I need to accept the fact that they are going to exchange emotions. So when their emotions are exchanged, we can understand that this can be very crucial for the existence of the organization as well. So in the modern human resource management, we are giving the existence of the concept of humans as social animals, and at the same time we are disagreeing with the old thought that humans are resources or commodities. I think that there can be near future wherein which we will refer to human resource management as human assets management. So Here we are not referring to humans as commodities. Why? Because commodities are to be used, and we are not going to use humans in organization. We are going to take their help in achieving the organizational goal. So the modern human resource management concept talks about integration of various aspects that are related to HR. Now, the activities or aspects that are related to HR are performance appraisal, potential appraisal and development, career planning and development, training and organizational development, reward system of the organization, employee welfare and achieving the work-life balance, industrial relations and human resource information system. So these are some of the systems of the organization that are existing. In modern human resources, none of these works in isolation. There is a total integration of all these concepts and practices. So performance appraisal will be dealt with career planning, and training and organization activities will be directed for identification of potential appraisal. There will be rewards associated with the achievement of the individual. Employees are having the needs, and these needs will be taken care by the employers. Employers will help them to achieve the work-life balance. In a way, they are going to take care of the industrial relations by establishing healthy workplace relations. And at the same time, IT plays an integral role in maintaining the data of all the activities which are mentioned further. So here, in modern concept, we are integrating almost every activity of HR. Now, this modern human resource management concept has some underlying assumptions. Now, when I talk about these underlying assumptions, the very first underlying assumption is organizational members are reservoirs of untapped resources. Now, when I say untapped resources, I mean that there are humans who are capable of doing beyond what they are doing. The capacities are totally different. They are totally different than what they are performing. And there is a need of a leader who identifies this hidden potential. The role of the organizational leader is this. And there we need people who can identify where the hidden potential is and how you can bring that hidden potential to the surface and how you can help them to achieve success in what they are expert about. So the second underlying assumption is there is a scope for unlimited development of these resources. So when you know that there is a hidden potential that your members are having, once you identify that hidden potential, yes, you can train them. You can train them in those areas, and there's a huge scope of development in these areas. The most important thing to understand over here is most of the time in organizational setup, the employees themselves are also not aware about their hidden talent or potential unless and until they are provided with an opportunity to take that task and perform. So there is a need of a leader who gives such kind of tasks to people so that their hidden potential surfaces. And once you can identify that smallest potential as well, you can train it and you can convert it as a big opportunity for that individual to grow. The third important assumption for the modern concept of HR is it is more in the nature of self-development than the development thrust from outside. Now, when I say self-development, here you can sense the presence of the intrinsic motivation than the presence of extrinsic motivation. So, self-development need is identified by the individual himself or herself. And how it is identified? It's through intrinsic motivation. I need to achieve something more. I'm not satisfied with what I have. I need to do more. I need to exert my potential. I need to go beyond the boundaries that I set. So when you have these kind of introspecting statements that the individual tells himself or herself, you will see that there is a nature of self-development which is existing. And the organization's responsibility is to support this need. The fourth underlying assumption is the organization also undergoes development with the overall benefits along with the development of the members. Now, here you can understand that obviously the individuals are getting benefited out of the training and development activities that you're providing. The individuals are getting learned, the individuals are getting knowledgeable, but at the same time, there is a change that they are creating in the existence of the organization as well. So, there is an overall benefit that has been provided to the organization as well. And yes, the modern human resource concept is all about quality improvement of the human being. And with this, let's now move towards the definition of human resources. Now, this is a very important aspect because these are the definitions which are standardized and defined and accepted worldwide. So, what we are going to do is we'll be understanding these definitions in isolation, and then we will try to integrate the meaning of these definitions together. So let's start with the first definition that is given by Business Dictionary. Now, according to Business Dictionary, a human resources or human resource is a person or employee who staffs and operates a function within your organization. So, for a human resource, according to Business Dictionary, we have provided a position in your organization to operate several functions which are associated with that position. Now, if I go to Investopedia, according to Investopedia, human resources as companies recognized to gain competitive advantage. The human resources are definitely playing an important role in helping companies deal with fast changing competitive environment, and the greater demand for the quality employees will always exist. So what do Investopedia say? They are aiming at identifying those individuals who can carry certain key competencies or core competencies which can give the competitive edge to the organization. Obviously, every organization existing in the market is competing with its existing counterparts, and in order to survive in the market, in order to stand strong in the competition, the only key is identifying the competitive advantage, and that is possible only when you are having the talent which has these core competencies. So that is the definition of Investopedia. Let's see what Wikipedia says. According to Wikipedia, human resources is a term that is used to describe the individuals who comprise the workforce of an organization. Now you can understand over here, we are talking about individuals who comprises the workforce. Now when you are talking about having a small team of people, everyone, for any smallest task also, everyone will expect that the best people are part and parcel of the team. We want the best person to be in the team. So when I talk about organizational context, when you are recruiting people, every organization will aim at having the best person in their team, in their workforce. So this is the distinctive definitions of human resources given by 3 different dictionaries. Now let's see all of them in together. So when I talk about a human being who is working and operating in an organization in some position and performing some function, I expect that person to be a talented person who is as strong as that of a person who can give a strong fight with the counterparts, who can give a strong fight with the competitors. And here human resources plays a very important role. Why? Because the world is dynamic. Nothing is stagnant, nothing is static. Something that is surviving today can go obsolete tomorrow. And that's why there's a need to adjust with this fast and changing competitive environment. And human beings are going to help us to achieve the dynamic requirements of time by updating their skills on timely basis. So human resources are going to be very important for all of us. Now with these definitions, let's also try to reflect on some of the focuses of human resource management. Now when I try to focus on human resource management, these are the things that are being stated in the very first column of the slide. The human resource management process starts with the entry of the individual in the organization. That is nothing but the recruitment process, and it stays there till the time the employee leaves the organization. So the first focus is on recruitment and selection, sourcing the best resources for the organization. Now, when you have recruited and selected the best candidates for your organization to carry out the organizational tasks for goal achievement, it is the responsibility of the organization to compensate them. So, when you are talking about compensation, yes, here we are talking about the wage and salary administration part, and that is again taken care by human resource management. Now, it's not only about compensation. Because they are performing work in the organization, we need to help them to understand whether the work that is performed by them is up to the mark or not. So, there is a need to get into performance management of the employees. Now, when you're managing the performance of the employees, here the very crucial aspect is getting into their self appraisals. We are talking about making them realize and helping them identify the areas of improvement. Now, that is again the requirement of human resource management. You need to support people to realize which are the weaker areas, and again, you need to support them to build upon those weaker areas. And that is possible through organizational developmental activities. So, here you can subject your employees for training and development. Now, when you are training your employees, definitely the employees are getting developed, and at the same time they are going to help your organization get developed. Again, the important focus of human resource management is on safety and wellness. Now, when I talk about safety and wellness, because employees are working in the organization, it is the organization's responsibility to take care of their workplace safety, and at the same time to take care of the wellness activities so that they feel attached to the organization. So the commitment can also be ensured through the wellness activities that organization is carrying out. So again, this is an important focus of human resource management. Now, there are some benefits and rewards that the organization needs to provide to the employees. Now, that is for the purpose of motivating them. We need people who are continuously working for the organization. They are striving hard for goal achievement. So, yes, we need to have the information that is related to reward and recognition in place. They should be aware, the employees should be aware that yes, motivational activities have been taken care by the organization, and the reward and recognition program is in place. At the same time, the focus of human resource management is also on ensuring a direct and transparent communication with the employees. They need to follow the practice of transparency, honesty, and integrity in all the work practices. And this has to be communicated to the employees very clearly. And we also know that because there are so many different kinds of activities that are under the head of human resource management, the administration part is also very crucial. We need to arrange resources, organize resources, delegate resources. We need to keep the records of all the plannings and organizations. So administration is also a very important focus of human resource management. Now, moving further, last but not the least, the most important focus is on developmental and training part. Why? Because through training, you are going to learn how you can develop your organization in the future. You're going to support your employees to take your organization to the new heights. So these are all activities or the areas where human resource management is having the focus on. Now, it is also said that human resource management is a progressive function. Now, when I say it's a progressive function, basically it aims to bring people and the organization together for goal achievement. Now, when you're bringing the people and the organization together, there's a concept that you all should understand that is called as goal congruence. Now, when the organization has some goal and when people have their own individual goals, if these two goals are matching with each other, definitely the employees will be happy working with the organization. They will be satisfied contributing in the goal achievement. But if there is a mismatch of what organization wants and what individual goals are, the employees may feel frustrated and the satisfaction level may go down. So, because HRM is a progressive function, it is the responsibility of HRM to bring the people and organizational together and at the same time achieve the best job fit so that goal congruence is existing, there are satisfied and happy employees in the workplace, and the goal achievement process is also very smooth. At the same time, it's a part of management process. Now there are various functions that are part and parcel of management, and because humans are present everywhere, okay, irrespective whether it is finance department, production department, or sales department, human managers are going to act in a role of HR managers even though they are not placed exactly in the HR managers, because they are going to deal with humans. And that's why this particular function is called as a progressive function. Human resource management also secures best through people cooperation. So, because it is humans coming together to achieve a common goal, yes, we need to ensure that they all are working as a team. We need to ensure that they are trying hard to achieve the goal together. Now, this is possible only when the organizational heads ensures that the cooperation is synced. And again, because it's a progressive function, HRM is an art of organizing, developing, and maintaining the efficient resources. So we need to ensure that we are placing a right person at a right place at a right time. Even though we have considered this as a part and parcel of the definition of recruitment, but still it applies to every activity that is carried out in the organization. So it is an art of organizing, developing, and maintaining efficient resources of the organization. That's why HRM is considered as a progressive function. Now, human resource management provides techniques for workplace management. Now, when you're having humans working in the workplace, definitely there can be many things that humans will require. There can be possibility that there are interactions, there are transactions, there are conflicts, and then the organizational heads needs to manage all these things. So HRM also provides certain proven techniques that stands true when it comes to workplace management. And there are different techniques. If we talk about the lower level management, that is the most frontline people, or you talk about the workers, or you talk about the blue collar employees, or you talk about the top management people, there are different techniques which are proven and which works effectively. So HRM are providing these techniques to the world, the entire world. At the same time, there are techniques given for expressing the goals and establishing the goal clarity. Now, even though the organization has its own mission and vision, the requirement is these missions, visions, and established goals should be communicated very clearly to the employees. Why? Because unless and until the employees are aware of why they are working, they will not enjoy doing their work. So they need to know the goal, they need to know the target, they need to be communicated. And here the important role of HR as a communicator takes place. So HRM also provides techniques for goal expression and establishing the goal clarity. Now HRM helps in resources identification for assignment completion. Now, there can be many projects, many tasks, many assignments that an organization carries out on day-to-day operational basis. Now, here we need to understand that there is a need for identifying the required resources and assigning those resources in a timely manner. And if it is done in a timely manner, definitely we are going to achieve the goal completion very easily. And that is again provided through the various techniques of HRM. HRM also provides the techniques for risk reductions. Now, whenever there is any work carried out, definitely the risk factor may be associated with it because of the nature of the work. Some works can be less hazardous, but then some tasks or some jobs are more hazardous than others. And that's why we need to have a properly established technique a protocol, a standard operating procedures which are followed by humans when they are working. And yes, these techniques are going to help us in reducing the risk. So we can see that the HRM is providing us very established and proven techniques which helps the organization to carry out the day-to-day operations very smoothly. Now, in addition to this, we also have two more important authors who have contributed to understand the concept of HRM in a most simplified manner. The first author is Torrington and Hall. In 1987, they have proposed this particular concept. Now, they say that human resource management is a series of activities which first enable working people and their employing organizations to agree about the objectives and nature of their working relationships. So, you see, the first part of this definition talks about establishing working relationships. Now, when I use this word relationship, I need to understand where these relationships are existing. So, these existing relationships are between the employer and the employee, the employee and the employee, and the employer and the employer. So, it is very clear that we need to have a set of established procedure to identify what is the nature of the working relationship. Okay, here we can apply all principles of management, and this working relationship and the set objectives are to be communicated to the new joinings, are to be communicated to all the employees very clearly. There is a need for communication because the work should not stop because of any confusion. The work should not stop because of any conflict. And that's why the working relationships and the nature of working relationships should be known to the employees. The second part of this definition says that even though you're having these working relationships established in the workplace, you need to understand that the entire agreement is fulfilled. Now, what is an agreement? Agreement basically is a document which is signed by both the parties. Now, this is a kind of legal terminology. But then when we are talking about the working relationships, let's take an example. If you're talking about a human working with any organization in any position, the organization is in need to give him or her the salary in return of the work that he or she must be doing. So obviously in the relationship, it is the employee who is going to work for a certain period of time dedicatedly, with honesty, with the full potential, and at the same time the organization is going to give in return the decided salary or the decided compensation. So in this way, the first relationship of the example we have established, work, and then against the work the compensation is provided. Now it has to be ensured that this is documented. It has to be ensured that this agreement is fulfilled. It should not be the oral commitment that the employer is giving. It has to be fulfilled, and commitment is to be achieved in the timely manner. So that is what Torrington and Hall are focusing on. Now let's get into the second definition that is given by Weil and Miller. This definition was given in 1987. According to Weil and Miller, human resource management is or are those decisions and actions which concerns the management of employees at all levels in the business and which are related to the implementation of strategies directed towards creating and sustaining competitive advantage. Now again, this definition is having several distinctive parts. The first important concern to understand is it is for the employees at all levels. So we are talking about the decisions and actions. The decision once made definitely is going to get impacted on every employee present in any level of the organization. So the decisions and actions which are oriented for all the employees at all levels of the business or the organization, and definitely they are in relation to the strategies that are identified by the organization. So we establish strategies. Why do we establish strategies? We establish strategies for the achievement of our goals, for the achievement of our mission, for the achievement of our vision. So these strategies, as they are established, they should be actually focused upon and acted upon. So if we are directing and if we are using and implementing the strategies as they are planned, there can be a possibility that we gain the competitive advantage. Now how can we gain the competitive advantage? Because of our core competencies, which are backed up by the strategies, which are backed up by the strengths of our human beings. So this is the second definition given by Weil and Miller. Now, in short, if I want to summarize the concept of human resource management, it is a business oriented, logical, and consistent approach. So it is business oriented approach, and it is a logical approach and a consistent approach. Now when I say logical, I mean that in every activity there is a logical linkage. So as we have seen in the beginning, that the HRM starts when the person enters the organization and it continues till the existence of the person in the organization. So your recruitment and selection is linked with compensation. Compensation is linked with performance appraisal. Again, training and development is linked with compensation and performance appraisal. Your performance is linked with reward and recognition. So you can understand that definitely in business oriented activities, you have the HRM, which is logically related, and it is a consistent approach. Now when we say consistent approach, it means we are going to carry out it on day-to-day basis. We are going to carry it out on regular basis. So here we are going to guide our employees for individual and collective contribution for goal achievement. And that is what HRM does. At the same time, HRM is going to address the theoretical and the practical techniques of the workforce management. And definitely we are there to help the individuals to perform better. So these are the activities that HRM is doing. Now there are some features of HRM. These are very important features. If I talk about people orientation, the first feature, it is concerned with how employees at individual and group level work together, how employees achieve their goal, and people orientation approach is also related to the behavioral, emotional, and the social aspects of the employee. Then we have the individual orientation approach. This particular approach is related to respecting individual's identity. In people orientation, we are focusing on how individual works in a group and how the behavioral, emotional, and social aspects are taken care. In individual orientation, here we are trying to support that individual to facilitate the satisfaction process and the growth. At the same time, we are developing the knowledge, capabilities, skills, and potential of that individual through individual orientation. So that's the second feature of HRM. The third feature of HRM is it is a continuous function. You cannot say that HRM is an activity that is performed on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday it is off. No, it's the everyday, every moment process. It's a continuous function. So there is a requirement of constant alertness and awareness of human relations and their importance in day-to-day operations, because most of the activities are successfully carried out through healthy human relations. So that's why it is called as a continuous function. Again, it is a staff function. So HRM is a responsibility of line manager who are involved in goal achievement, and it is the responsibility of the staff manager to help the line manager to achieve the goals. That's why it's a staff function. It is also advisory in nature, and advising and operating departments on personal matters is taken care by HRM, and that's why it is referred as a staff function. Then it is a pervasive function. So when I say it is a pervasive function, it is concerned with employees' involvement in decision making. We are involving humans in decision making. That's why the concept of WPM, workers participation is management, is so prevalent, and it is spread through all the types of functional management, that is production, marketing, finance, etc. So it's related to every department, irrespective whether production manager is referred as production manager, hidden inside he is acting in a role of an HR manager only. It's a challenging function. Why? Because it's dynamic in nature. People nature is dynamic, the world is dynamic. Every day is going to be a new challenge that is going to be in front of the organization, and it aims at securing unreserved cooperation from all the employees. We require cooperation from all in order to achieve the goal. So that is why it is called as a challenging function. And lastly, it is called as a development oriented function. Why? Because individual employees' goals are directed to job satisfaction, job security, high salary achievement, having the attractive fringe benefits, having the challenging work, taking pride in the work and the status, getting recognition for good work done, and opportunities for development. So we as an HR are providing them the opportunities to achieve all these individual goals. So developing the potential of employees is the aim of the organization, so that they derive maximum satisfaction from the work and give their best efforts. So this is what HR strives for. HR is ready to support the employees to give their best efforts so that the goals are achieved. So here comes the end for the session. There are few questions which are listed in the form of true and false and multiple choice for your reference. You're supposed to identify the correct answer. In this slide, the correct answer is stated and highlighted in red. So there can be a possibility that you get true and false, fill in the blanks, multiple choice. So you can refer to the slide for checking your progress. Then we can also have further reading. These two books are very informative. We can get into competitive advantage through people. It's an HBR, Harvard Business School's book. And again, there's a book by Uday Parikh and Dr. T.V. Rao, that is Designing and Managing Human Resource Systems. So that can help us in further reading. So let's sum up now. Here we are coming to the end of the session, and by now we have successfully identified the core concepts of HR. We have understood the definition of human resource development. At the same time, we have understood the concept of modern human resource management and the role that is played by the human manager or HR manager in modern human resource management. We are also seeing the salient features of HR, which are actually carried out by almost every HR manager. And at the same time, we have understood the definition of human resource management in the worldwide context. Thank you very much.
स्वाध्यायः परमं